Hi, this is Rob, Longevity Learning Lab, and today we're going to go ahead and make a 90-degree table clamping block. Okay, and this is a block that you have on your work table that you can go ahead and you clamp it to the table and clamp it to your piece of work, and that'll keep you at a right angle. And you can use like the magnets and stuff like that, and those work fine, but this, what I have to make is going to be bigger, so I'm going to make a bigger block. And I had made a video a little while ago about our force cut 62i and to see how thick it would cut. And we cut up to an inch and a quarter material, and it worked it all right. You know, my breaker was set up to with the compressor too, so pop that. But the machine, or the force cut 62i, it's got a little breaker inside of itself too, so it can't overheat, and it saves the machine, saves everything. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to use that, I'm going to cut the material here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do, because you want to have that at a nice true 90 degree, and you don't want it to rock, you want it nice and flat. You can use cold rolled material, and or you can really machine it, and I don't have that option here, so we're going to use just some hot rolled material, and we'll make sure that it'll be nice and 90. We'll brace it up, and we'll cut it up, and we'll be right back. Okay, this is going to be just the basic principle of how we're going to do it. Okay, the first thing is your tabletop. Okay, now your table, you want to have that nice and flat. You don't want any dips in it or anything like that. Nice and clean surface. And then here's your work, and your work's going to be wobbly. Okay, a lot of my experiences with sheet metal. So you want to have something to clamp it to and keep it stood up so you have an extra pair of hands, especially TIG welding. Now, say for instance too, you're welding aluminum. You're welding stainless steel. You can't use those magnets, but you still got to keep it upright, you know, and it's better just to have something already handy right there. You can grab it up. So what it is, it's just going to be one of the plates like that, and then another plate coming this way like that, and then a big brace coming down this way. Okay, real basic. I mean, and then like this plate will be the upright plate. And it's just going to go like that, and then the same one with here, this would go this way, the same, but a little longer. And then this piece here, you're going to have coming like this, but you're going to have the 45 on each side like that. Excuse my drawing as usual. And then it'll all fit in there, but you want to keep it as a nice tight 90 degrees. And so say for instance you don't have any cold rolled or laser cut or machine parts like I've got here. I got some mild steel, and it's hot rolled. So I'll show you here what I've got to play with, and let's go over to the table and I'll show you what I got going on there. Okay, this is the material I've got to work with here. I've got a nice big piece, a 1/2-inch plate that I'm going to go ahead and cut across, and then I've got this is going to be my bottom plate. And so we're going to just square that up and make sure that's nice and flat. But the only problem with that is that on the bottom, somebody's been playing with something, who knows what. So I got to fix all those little potholes there, and I'll just use my little wire feed, my little MIG Weld 140 on that, and I'll do that next after I'm done showing you what else is up. And then here's going to be our brace, and this brace is 1 1/4 inches. And that's going to go this way here, so I got to cut some 45s with our plasma, and then just weld the heck out of everything and make sure it's all nice and 90. But let me fill these in and grind that off, and so I can show you that, because we want to have everything nice and flat, all sorts of different ways. And the 45s that I cut on here, those got to be really true. So let me fill these in and show you what else is going on. Okay, now I've got the plates here, and I've got it laid out to where I want to do it. I've got the regular base that I had to go ahead and fix the back on, but that's not going to be a problem if I didn't get all the pinholes, because that's actually going to be the side that I'm going to weld on. Then I got my brace here with the 45s already laid out, and then I've got my other plate, and this is going to be the vertical plate. This is the plate that goes straight up and down. And what I did after laying it out is I go ahead and I take my little center punch, and I just center punch right along the soapstone line, and that way if you lose that soapstone, you can still see where you want to cut, and it's just a lot easier, a lot more convenient for you. You don't have to squint, and hopefully you figure you don't lose your line. It was just a good practice I fell into when I first started. And then we're going to go ahead and we'll fire up our plasma cutter, and then we'll cut these all off and clean them all up, and then we're all nice and flat there. So even though I'm trimming it, I'm not putting a lot of heat to it yet. So let me go ahead and show you how we cut these up. Okay, let's make our first cut here. That's pretty close. I'll clean up that edge a little bit right there. Spin this around, a little warm. Just enough to hold it. Got a little slag, that's not too bad. Okay. Just like that. Okay, now I got my parts cut, and what I did is when I cleaned up this plate, I didn't clean it up all the way because I wasn't really too concerned, because that's where the inside's going to go. The main part was underneath. I wanted all that nice and clean and straight and flat. And then this will be the bottom, and I beveled it because when the pieces go together, I'm going to weld in there underneath, and so I get better penetration. Now the other piece is also beveled, my vertical piece, and that'll go stand up like that, and then the bevel will be underneath, and so I'll flip it over and get a good root pass on that, and then we'll go from there. Then my support piece is right here, and I've already got my 45s, and I even put a bevel on there too, because the material being as thick as it is, you got to burn in there, and you want to keep everything nice and tight. So we'll go like that. So then we'll go ahead and I'll tack it up and run the beads, and I'm confident I'm going to use my little MIG Weld 140 on it. I'm going to use a hard wire with the gas. That's the 2575, the 25 argon, 75 CO2, and we'll get it tacked up, and that's about what we got to do. So it's kind of ironic too, because to get this set up, I'm going to take a magnetic 90 block and use that to get me started. We get it all nice and close, And then we'll tack it up. And I like spatter spray myself, and so I'm going to spray it up a little bit. It keeps the table nice and clean too. Okay, so we're good there. And see, a good thing about these 90 blocks is that you can use them all over the place. You can drill holes and have them anchored to the table. Myself, I like them freestanding, and if anything, I can clamp them. Yeah, even that plate's nice and straight. Okay, let's tack it up here. Just enough to hold it for now. Okay, and just keep checking it and checking it. Yeah, we're pretty good. Here, let me show you. See, that'll hold it like that. There we go. See, that's pretty good like that. And then you can always trim this off if you need. The main thing, I wanted it flat on the table and flat this way here. And then we put the other piece on here, like that. And I'm gonna just eyeball it for right now. And get it tacked in here. Make sure we're at the 90. Yeah, it looks pretty good. That's pretty much what it's going to look like. And I'll throw a couple more tacks on here just for safety reasons. See, and pretty much this is really versatile, and you got the weight and the sturdiness, and then you can use it as the right angle piece, and just keep checking it. See, and then you come around, you put it this way too. Oop, get that out of here, and check it that way. And then I'll flip it over, and we'll check it this way here. That's really good. And see, like I was saying, the bevel there, that way I get a good, nice root pass there. And I know I'm flush across that edge. So let me go ahead and we'll weld this up. And let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit more. And then we'll run some beads. And there you go. So far, that's what that's looking like. Okay, now I've got it all tacked together. So what I got to remember now is when I do weld it, I want to keep everything as flat as I can so I get it nice and hot and penetrated. But I want to go ahead and, like, I'll weld it here, then I'll flip it around. So because it will draw a little bit, maybe, I hope not, but we'll find out. So I'm going to run a bead first, we'll get some good root pass in here. And that way we get in there pretty good. And then I come back and I'll do another bead over that. So we go ahead and move this around. I'll flip over here. I get another flat one. See, and on this, you don't have to have really big, heavy welds, because the main purpose of this whole thing is you would just want to keep it at 90 degrees. The reason why it got heavy like this is just because it's better. It's more girth. It's sturdier. It's not as if it's going to be going, you know, anything really major. We'll go ahead and finish this bead. I had to turn down my little wire speed a little bit. Now let's try drag bead. Okay, well, we know that's going to be nice there, so then we just double check it and see how that's nice and tight, just like that. Come a little closer. And then now we can go ahead, we'll flip it over and we'll do this one here, but I want to block it up so I get a good flat hand on it. So what we'll do, see if I can do this. Let me reset it. There we go, look like this. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll do this one here now. Right at the end. Okay, then I'll go ahead and I'll grind all that nice and flush, because that's a real important weld right there. And so that part's done. So the rest of it, all I have to do is just finish up the welds and finish up the cleaning, and then that's pretty much your 90 block there. Okay, so now I've got it welded up. I still got to grind that bead off down here so it lays nice and flat on the table. I'll do that later. And so the main principle of the whole thing is, say for instance I got this big old piece of tubing right here and I want to stand it up. All I got to do is clamp it. Just like that. And then you can clamp it to the table, your hands are free, and it's all good. Well, there you go. There's just another little helpful hint and something you can put on your table to free up your hands. You know, just because it's big and heavy doesn't mean you can't use it for smaller stuff. And I like it just because there you got your hands free and you know it's not going to fall. And I like myself, I like to have more than just one, have a couple around here, because you can lay them down and do them for a lot of different things. If it doesn't work out for you, you can use it as doorstop, you know. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm Rob with Longevity Learning Lab, and we'll see you next time. Bye.